Malta is a remarkable little nation in the Mediterranean that might not be on everyone's radar. It's a place where ancient temples rise older than the pyramids, and over 3 million tourists spend their holidays. First, let's look at where Malta is. This small archipelago sits in the central Mediterranean, about 93 kilometres south of Sicily and roughly 300 kilometres north of Libya. It's made up of 3 main islands, Malta, Gozo and Comino. While Malta is the largest and most populated, Gozo offers a quieter, more rural feel, and Comino is nearly uninhabited, with only a few residents. Malta's scenery is incredibly varied for a country that is only 316 square kilometres in size. Beautiful beaches with pure water, rocky coasts with breathtaking cliffs, and even some agricultural area in the hinterland may all be found there. Malta has a little bit of everything. Malta's population is just over 500,000, and it's one of the smallest countries in Europe by population. But what's interesting is how densely populated it is. Malta has one of the highest population densities in the world. Valletta, its capital, is also one of the smallest capital cities in Europe. Malta has 2 official languages, Maltese, which is derived from Arabic and infused with Italian and other influences, and English, a legacy of British rule. This makes it easy for English speakers to get around, and it also opens up Malta to international students and tourists. Malta's past stretches back over 7,000 years, with civilizations from the Neolithic to the Phoenicians, Romans, Moors, Normans and Knights of St. John all leaving their marks in some way. Perhaps the most notable chapter in Malta's history is the period of the Knights of St. John, also known as the Knights Hospitaller. In 1530, these knights were granted the island by Charles V of Spain. They transformed Malta into a centre of defence and culture, and left behind grand structures like St. John's Co-Cathedral in Valletta. The famous novel The Maltese Falcon by Dashiell Hammett is based on a historic tribute paid by the Knights of Malta to the King of Spain. Though fictionalised, the tale has drawn attention to Malta's intriguing history. Malta was also a critical location during World War II due to its strategic position. It endured heavy bombing by Axis forces, but the tenacity of the Maltese people was recognised by King George VI, who awarded the entire island the George Cross. This symbol of bravery remains on Malta's flag today. Tourism in Malta began to develop seriously in the post-World War II era, especially as air travel became more accessible and affordable. However, it was in the 1960s and 1970s that the country truly started emerging as a popular tourist destination, when the Maltese government recognised the potential of its scenic coastlines and historical sites. Today, Malta has 3 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, one of which is the entire city of Valletta. Valletta was founded in 1566 by the Knights of St. John following the Great Siege of Malta in 1565, when the Ottoman Empire attempted to take the island. The city was named after Grand Master Jean Parisot de Valette, who played an important role in defending Malta during the siege. Designed as a fortress city, Valletta was planned with a grid system. It was one of Europe's earliest examples of urban planning. It's surrounded by massive bastions, forts and walls, and was a military stronghold as well as a cultural and administrative centre. Valletta's population is relatively small. It is estimated to be around 6,000 residents. Over the years, the population has experienced a decline due to urban sprawl and the movement of residents to other parts of Malta. Its population is a mix of long-term residents and expatriates. The St. John's Co-Cathedral is a masterpiece of Baroque art. Its plain exterior contrasts with a richly decorated interior. It was built by the Knights of St. John between 1572 and 1577, under the direction of the Maltese architect Girolamo Cassar. The Grand Master's Palace was the residence of the Grand Masters of the Knights of St. John. Today, it's the residence of the President of Malta and a museum with the Knights' Armoury. The Upper Barraca Gardens offer some great views of the Grand Harbour and the 3 cities. They are a favourite spot for tourists and locals. Before we continue, please consider hitting the like button to help this video reach a wider audience. It's very important. Mdina is a fortified hilltop town in central Malta, lovingly nicknamed the Silent City. Now, don't let that fool you. It's not silent because there's nothing going on, but because cars are mostly banned and the residents seem to enjoy a bit of peace. With only around 300 people living there, it's the perfect place if you like your history with a side of calmness. It was originally founded by the Phoenicians and later became a key settlement for the Romans. During the Arab period in the 9th century, the city was fortified and acquired its current name, derived from the Arabic word for city. Mdina was Malta's capital until the 16th century. Even after losing its status to Valletta, it remained an important religious and administrative centre. Among the main attractions here are the Cathedral Museum, which displays Roman artefacts and religious art, and St. Paul's Cathedral, famous for its Baroque elegance. If you're into medieval torture or just want to freak out your friends, you should visit the Mdina dungeons. Rabat may be Mdina's not-so-famous sibling, but it has its own unique history, charm, and a surprising number of attractions. Rabat was originally part of Mdina. Eventually, the Arabs split the area, walled off Mdina as a fortified city, and left Rabat on the outside. Today, Rabat and Mdina are essentially neighbours, with Rabat embracing a lively, everyday Maltese atmosphere compared to Mdina's historic calm. Rabat streets are full of Roman ruins. The town also hosts some of Malta's most significant Christian sites, as it is believed that St. Paul lived here briefly after being shipwrecked on Malta. With a population of 11,000 people, Rabat is a lively community. It's the kind of place where you can chat with locals about Malta's history, or the best place to find a good snack. Rabat has actual underground catacombs. The St. Paul's catacombs date back to Roman times and give visitors a taste of early Christian burial customs. Gozo is Malta's second largest island. While smaller and quieter than the main island, it offers its own unique charm and is an integral part of the Maltese archipelago. Gozo sits about 6 kilometres northwest of Malta and can be reached by a short ferry ride from the northern tip of the island. It covers an area of 67 square kilometres. Gozo has a more rural and laid-back atmosphere. It is less urbanised, with a slower pace of life, and offers a peaceful escape from the busy towns of Malta. The largest town here is Victoria, home to the impressive citadel, a historic fortified city that dominates the skyline. Gozo is often associated with the legend of Calypso's cave, where, according to Greek mythology, the nymph Calypso detained Odysseus for 7 years. The megalithic Gigantea temples, also a famous UNESCO World Heritage Site, date back to around 3600 BC, which makes them older than the pyramids of Egypt. Comino is the smallest inhabited island in the Maltese archipelago, set between Malta and Gozo, and named after the cumin seed once grown here. It's one of those places where nature takes centre stage, with minimal human interference. This lack of development is partly due to Comino's status as a nature reserve and bird sanctuary. Comino is just 3.5 square kilometres in size, which means you could technically walk across it in an hour or two. The population of Comino is tiny. In fact, it fluctuates between a handful of residents and 0, depending on the season. While Comino might be small, it has one of Malta's biggest attractions, the Blue Lagoon. This natural pool between Comino and its tiny neighbour island, Comino, is a magnet for tourists who are seeking an idyllic Mediterranean experience. The lagoon's unique clarity and bright blue colour come from its sandy bottom and sheltered location. The lagoon has the look of a tropical paradise, though it's surprisingly small, only a few hundred metres across. With waters so transparent you can see to the bottom, it's just perfect for snorkeling. If you want Comino more to yourself, you should visit in the spring or autumn when the crowds are lighter. During summer, the Blue Lagoon can feel more like a pool party. Have you ever visited Malta? Let us know in the comments. If you loved this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to World Travel Guide. You should also check out other great videos on our channel.